one. Oh, yes. Look out. Oh, I'm almost on. Gathering the crowd. What's up, people, my people? Almost there you go. Now people are liking. Hit that like, everybody. We're about to get started. Woo. So much to cover. I feel so behind. What up? What up? What up? All right, one more thing. Let me open my chat so I can see you guys, and then we'll get going. There we go. Now it's working. Excellent. All right, I'm having to get my stuff set. I don't know. Will this button work? It did. It worked. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Look at me back in my regular digs after a week visiting family in the sweltering, however, lovely muggy heat of Kentucky. Had a lovely time. My dad played bluegrass music, and my kid got to go see it. I think one of the first times he's ever seen my dad play live, which was wonderful, and everybody was very complimentary about what a wonderful young gentleman my son was, and that feels good. I gotta tell you, it's pretty great. So, hello, hi, hit the, oh, my overhead light is on. Also, not that it matters for you guys, but I stink right now. I've been traveling all day. We left early this morning. We flew through Atlanta back this way. And it was hot when we left. It was hot in Atlanta. It was hot when we landed here. And I am ripe. People, be happy that this is not smell-o-vision. I mean, let's be honest. I have a lovely musk, my very own. Oh, thank you so much, Jen. I feel welcome back. That's very sweet of you. I appreciate it. Needless to say, and thank you, Angela, as well. Thank you guys for the super chats. It's really great. When I'm away, I always forget that this is what keeps the show up and running. But here I am, and it was a lovely time. The thing on Saturday with the WCPT gathering was great. It was sold out. Everybody was lovely. I wish I could have stayed all afternoon. But I had to be at the Metro in Chicago at 5:45. I was late. I got there a little after 6. Which gave me just enough time to shower and run over there. No nap whatsoever. So I got to introduce Night Ranger and Mickey and Brian, who put on the Hody Bash. It was very lovely. It was one of the best fundraisers they've ever had, and it was for the Children's Hospital of Chicago. So it was a glorious night overall. I have to admit, there was an after party, and I was too pooped to pop. I had to leave. I had a plane in the morning, which is reason enough, but I was literally so exhausted, I was nauseous. Like, you ever get that tired, where you've had, 4 hours sleep in the last 36, and you're like, yeah, I don't feel good. This is not good. And I still had, because of where I was staying, a half-hour minimum drive to my hotel. So, and Chicago freeways and I have a history of falling asleep at the wheel. Only happened once, but it's enough to wake you up forever. So, anyways, it's just lovely to be back here with you guys. I have a jam tomorrow night, so there will be no show tomorrow. But then we're regular on for the rest of the time. So, and there's so much going on. Oh my God. I have to, let me see if I can find this one. I was falling apart. Let's see if will this reload with no. Damn it. The thumbnails are getting glorious on the Epstein stuff. So let's start here. Let's go to the chat room window. Hi, chat room. Specifically, I mean, I know I have you on the other window, but this is better. I gotta say, it's been a genuine, I haven't been able to watch as much of the stuff as I would normally if I was just doing the show and I didn't have family stuff to take care of. But even still, I felt overwhelmed by the amount of panic clips by maggots about this. So good. Taco, taco, taco. Yes, we did have another example of Trump tacoing.
Raise a taco, take a bite. Trump always chickens out, so it's gonna be alright.
So people, if you don't know, he threatened all these new tariffs on people and yada yada, and then punted to August 1st. And then he did the same thing with he gave 50 days, since I guess he's been mistreated for 10 days by Putin in his mind. He gave 50 days to Putin to get to a ceasefire, or he'd have 100, 200%, whatever it was. And I got news for you. There's not going to be a ceasefire, dumbass. It's not going to work that way. It's never going to work that way. They've been you're a puppet on a string, dummy. Somebody's got to tell them this. But anyways, that's the least of our worries, because the weapons are flowing again to them. NATO is buying them from us. So Trump is, that's where they're spending their extra 2% is to buy weapons from us. So basically Trump wants a cut of the arms sales. That's really, most of this tariff stuff, he thinks he's getting. That's why he wants no taxes on tips. I think he wants a giant tip at the end of his presidency for all the trillions he says he brought in, having no idea how the economy works and how many trillions of dollars flow through our economy every year. Can I just say, Goldman Sachs has $6 trillion worth of transactions that go through their coffers, I think, every month. It's insane. So the idea that he's like, I brought in $15 trillion. Yeah, well, why you lost 8 and that's over 10 years and you're losing 3 trillion this year alone. Like, it's so stupid. Now, this is, how bad has it gotten for MAGA? That's the big question. How bad has it gotten? It's gotten so bad, you know it. It's gotten so bad, Shimon. That's how bad it is. That's how bad. It's that bad. It is bad, bad, bad. You know it. And here's how you can tell. There have been a lot of like crisscross of MAGA influencers like Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk and them all getting together. And I'm sure you've seen little slices of stuff being, cut around and put out or whatever. It's getting so bad. Glenn Beck is taking calls from randos on the air. He hasn't done that that I'm aware of, years. But what it means is he can't get guests to come on the show and defend this shit. And they also don't want to come on the show and get caught shitting on Trump. So he's got to have randos. I know. I saw that this morning. I'm like, please take calls tomorrow. Jesus. We'll see. I got to take down the number when we watch this. But hey, I'll show you. We're not going to watch, a big chunk of this. But good Lord, people. Check this out. The title of this, by the way, is Why MAGA Feels Betrayed Over Epstein Files. The Glenn Beck Program. Hour 1.
Sir.
Good morning, Glenn. I think I'm frustrated as most people are this morning. A little confused.
Yeah, I am. I don't. Do you think you know what happened?
I am. For the record, I am not frustrated or confused. You are a loser. This is your fucking problem. I'm not. This makes total sense to me. Like there are zero surprises for anybody in my chat room, for sure, about Trump not releasing shit. You're like, the whole time he's like, oh yeah, we're going to release this stuff. Well, maybe not. And everybody's like, he's going to release them. Pam Bondi's our hero, right? And we're all watching going, that's not going to happen. Are you out of your fucking mind? He's not going to do it. So no, I'm not confused. And no, I'm not frustrated. This is exactly what I said would happen.
No, I think that you mentioned common sense. I mean, I think
Did Stu deflate, or did they just swap him out for the head writer dude? Stu can't even take it. He doesn't even want to sit there and shit on Trump.
Common sense is what's breaking a lot of people right now, because we all know, generally what happened. It's just
generally, Trump was friends with the dude for 25 fucking years, and when Ghislaine Maxwell was going to jail, he wished her well. You nutcase.
Now it feels like it'll never be proven. And that is the heart, I think, of the frustration and kind of.
Yes, that's the worry. It'll never be proven. Dude, we have to hold on. Before this shit, wait. The statement Trump put up on Truth Social about where is it? Let's see. His big long statement about Epstein. Holy shit. Like it is painful. Let's see where I want to read this, cuz sentence by sentence it is bonkers. So this is, I'm going to scale this down so I can show you guys. There we go. Here you go. This is so chock full of insanity and intentional obfuscation, hyperbole, and bullshit. And the weird part is like this whole. Well, I'll show you. If you haven't seen the whole thing, God bless you. It's brain rot, just in prosaic form. Here we go. What's going on with my boys, and in some cases gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's doing a fantastic job. Fantastic job. Ever doing a fantastic job. It's not a muscle memory to say fantastic job, even though I say fantastic job. It's the heck of a job, Brownie, of Trump. Fantastic job. We're on one team, Maga, and I don't like what's happening. I love that show, actually. What's happening, Raj? We have a perfect administration. Put a pin in that for a second. Perfect administration. In all caps. If you have to cap it, Jesus. Oh, and Mark, you're absolutely right. Epstein. That's what he's trying to turn this into. He's trying to turn Russia, and then Epstein. Right? Okay. The talk of the world. Yes, they do talk about you after you leave. And selfish people, in quotes, God knows why, are trying to hurt it all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, now, if I was Alex Jones, and I sounded like this, I would immediately, and this was Biden or somebody else, I would go, see, I told you he's alive. That's what this is code. The guy who never dies, because he didn't die in prison. He didn't hang himself. They smuggled him out. He was declared dead. Nobody ever saw it. They took him out on a gurney. They had a respirator on him when he was taken into the bus, and then off he went. And then, how hard is it to pay off 2 coroners? All right. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity? And this is the most fucked up, weirdest, like out of nowhere, non sequitur about all of this that I think this was the most shocking part of it. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, Crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration who conned the world with Russia hoax, 51 intelligence agents, laptop from hell, and more? They created the Epstein files just like they created the Hillary Clinton Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me, and now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. Okay, this is just bonkers. Like, it's one thing. First of all, the FBI last Sunday, week ago Sunday, puts out this thing. That's it. There are no more files. There's no list, and you've seen everything that there is to see, and there's nothing else coming out. Case closed. And then this asshole says not only they're files, but they were fabricated to attack him. And what part? Jesus Christ, man! Like, you hung out with the dude. There's video of you. So Obama concocted the interview where you said Jeffrey was a fun guy to be with and he likes him young. Jeffrey calling you his best friend in an interview with Michael Wolff. They concocted the 15-hour interview that Steve Bannon did with him to help him prep for a 60 Minutes interview before he was arrested this last time and died, but after he was a convicted pedophile. The Dems had something to do with this. Like, this is the most bonkers part of all of this. That sentence, that part, is fucking crazy. Like, it is, that's so insane. Like, every aspect, none of it makes sense. And to throw this in, like, hit your people, Pam Bondi, and they said, nothing to see here, and that was bad enough. Now you're saying there is something to see, but it was made up. And by the way, so they concocted this shit to what? Hillary Clinton concocted the Epstein stuff to get Bill in trouble this whole time? I mean, I've heard hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, but Jesus Christ, they seem to have made amends. This part right here, this whole thing, publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration. Like that is brain twisting. To even put that out there, because this more than anything blew like Maga to pieces over the weekend. They were so hoping he'd come out. They were having a hard enough time with him saying, leave it alone, it's nothing. And then he comes out with this bizarre conspiracy theory that there are Epstein files, but Hillary wrote them. What the shit? Why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? Okay, well, they didn't have to release them. They were being used in court against Epstein primarily until he died while Trump was president, but also in Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. And if she gets a chance at an appeal, if you released a bunch of things, she could claim she can't get a real trial because of released evidence. And there were a bunch of civil cases where the stuff around those is the property of the plaintiffs in those things. So the government can't just take plaintiff evidence and plop it out someplace. Now that he's dead, they can. Right? That's the idea. And with except for the stuff that would be tied to Ghislaine, right? Because she wanted to bring stuff in, and but anyways, point being, there's still like ongoing suits with people trying to get money from his estate, and that's where some of the stuff would be released. The other part is that what if what Trump did with him was just grotesquely immoral, but he covered his tracks fairly well, and he just flew Epstein on his plane a bunch of times, because again, I want to see his flight logs. The idea is that they would secretly release it. The problem is if they did, he would just deny it or what have you. If you're planning on some sort of actual trial at some point in the future, after he was out of office and this kind of stuff, and you're building that case while he's being tried for fraud, more than likely, if he'd have gone to jail for the fraud like he should have, this stuff would have turned into a 5-year case. Also, the heavy hitters they would be going after have amazing lawyers. So you better have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted and that kind of thing. You can't just dump it. And by the way, all the stuff that you would allegedly just dump that you have is in Trump's possession, because the FBI raided his house, his New York house and the Florida house while Trump was in office. So if that stuff isn't anywhere to be found, it's because he got rid of it. The old black helicopter flying over the ocean. Oops, the door was open, is the theory, I guess. All right, anyways, it just gets crazier. Why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? They haven't even given up on their John F. Kennedy or Martin Luther King Jr. files. They haven't even given up on the John F. Kennedy or Martin Luther King Jr. files. I don't know who I don't know what the fuck that means. The radical left hasn't given up on wanting more clarity on the assassination of JFK and MLK, or once they got it, they want more. I don't know. It's so odd. No matter how much success we've had securing the border, deporting criminals, fixing the economy, energy dominance, safer world where Iran will not have nuclear weapons, it's never enough for some people. Megyn Kelly, Glenn. We're about to achieve more in 6 months than any other administration has achieved in over 100 years. Like, this is just goofy. And we have so much more to do. We are saving our country and making America great again, which will continue to be our complete priority, in all caps. The left is imploding. Kash Patel and the FBI must be focused on investigating voter fraud, political corruption, Act Blue, the rigged and stolen election of 2020, and arresting thugs and criminals, instead of spending month after month looking at nothing but the same old radical left-inspired documents on Jeffrey Epstein. Again, what? Radical left-inspired documents on Jeffrey Epstein. So QAnon is radical left now, I guess? Because I got to tell you, ain't no dogs after that bone more than the QAnon folks, right? That's,
Q-snatch.
Right. Let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and they tried to do the same thing in 2024. That's what she is looking into as AG and much more. 1 year ago, our country was dead, and now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, that is fucking bonkers. Also, the big story about it was it got ratioed like fucking crazy on Twitter, I guess. We voted for change, and that change for transparency and accountability. We want the elite pedos exposed. The U.S. government really outdid themselves, making Diddy innocent and Epstein's client list disappear all in 1 week. We support him. That still stands. But those kids need justice, says Chris Martineau, author. More squirrels and raccoons have been arrested than anyone on Epstein's client list. They all knew. Like, this is on Truth Social. Well, why did Pam string us along with Bindergate, calling it phase 1? Then she went on Fox saying the files were on her desk. She said the list was on her desk. Nice walk back, asshole. Have you joined the third down? I'm loving Truth Social. You could assume we could go. I don't know. This is Truth Social selling itself. That's an ad. You are losing too many in your base. Have an aide collect what we are saying all over social media. Pam Bondi has not been telling us the truth. Her story changed each time, so you need to listen to us. Are you aware how long and hard many of us have worked to get to the truth? We refuse to give this a pass. Not a good decision. I'm not worried about how Epstein died or there's government he worked for that he did the deed. I care that the world leaders and billionaires getting away with their crimes. What crimes? Apparently the radical left made up the case against him entirely. Yeah, I got ratioed on Truth Social first. It did. Well, they came in and they hammered the like button to fix that. With all due respect, please release the Epstein list. If there's no crime, why is Ghislaine doing time? No victims, make the files public. Fix this, sir. It's not going away. Like on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And so that is why these guys are fucking treading water in the middle of the ocean.
The feeling of where do we go from here?
And
now that all of our children are growing up.
it's not just this. It is.
It's kind of everything. Like the tariffs aren't working, and they're closing rural hospitals because the big bullshit bill busts the budget.
This is emblematic of everything we have gone through.
No, it's not. No, it's not, asshole. You know how I know? Because there is no laptop. If the laptop existed, wouldn't Kash Patel be the first guy to dump it on the internet?
And we thought we had finally a way to break all of that.
Yes. Finally, the guy who was best friends with the dude you've been after for 25 fucking years, who was friends with him for 25 years, got in power. So you felt now is a time for reckoning. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, yes, Glenn Beck is that dumb.
And now it doesn't seem like we do.
No, it doesn't.
And I think at least that is my real frustration. The number is 888-727-BECK. I just want you to vent. I want you to be able to say, because I have
no one coming on the show to talk me down from this, and I need the listeners to come on here so that if I bitch about it, I can say, well, the listeners were telling me.
Man, I have everybody's opinion right in front of me. I could go through them.
Please do.
I got Charlie Kirk's opinion on this. I have Donald Trump's opinion on this.
There's slightly divergent.
I have Megyn Kelly. You've heard my opinion, I'm sure. David Axelrod. Everybody has an opinion on this, but can I hear yours?
Because no one will call me to talk about this.
888-727-BECK. Byron in Colorado. Hello, Byron.
Hi, Byron.
Good morning, Glenn. I just think that we need to, the only way that we're going to be able to heal is if all the evidence gets out to the people. It has to be transparent, or else they're not going to trust anybody.
Yeah, they're not going to trust anybody because Trump won't dump the files. Instead of just going, hey, who's actually in charge of all this shit? Who just said a couple of months ago, I run the country and the world, and yet he can't release the files for some reason?
The people are not going to trust anybody in the administration. They have to release all the evidence.
All due respect, but what the fuck does the Secretary of Interior have to do with this? I guess it happened in the country.
What if
Some of it.
they came out and said, we have released all of the evidence?
No, they're still not going to believe them because there's still stuff that they told us they haven't released. So that's the problem.
Yeah, it does seem to be a bit of a problem. Yeah, it does. I could see where someone. Yeah, that doesn't quite. You know what I mean?
They have to be transparent. If they're not transparent, nobody's going to believe them here on out.
Yeah. It's going to be a rough 3.5 years, I guess.
I mean, nobody's going to believe them.
Oh, my God. Thank you, Tobias.
I happen to agree with you, Byron. Thank you so much. I have to tell you, I think it would be different for me
if Donald Trump wasn't friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 years and Steve Bannon didn't have 15 hours of interviews with the dude that he hasn't released, and if the raid on both of his properties hadn't happened when Trump was president, and if he hadn't died in his cell while Trump was president, if indeed he did.
If Donald Trump came out and said, look, we're releasing everything except we've taken out all of the names.
Mainly his.
But we're releasing absolutely everything we have. We just want to make sure that we're protecting all of the victims.
Yeah. What victims? Apparently there aren't any. It was all made up by the radical left.
Just release it. And there's nothing to see here, gang. There is nothing. And I understand your feeling. The attack that is being levied on really the supporters of Donald Trump is confusing to me.
The attack that's being levied on the supporters is confusing. Oh, you mean that they're all fucking sponge-headed cult members who can't put two and two together, and somehow, like, with pussy grabbing and the fucking, change room with Bergdorf Goodman or whatever, and all of his, like, bragging about sexually assaulting women over the years, and his interview about Jeffrey Epstein, and the fucking Maximum Golf article where Jeffrey Epstein flew on his plane, and you guys don't give a shit about those flight logs. I mean, what's being levied at maggots other than how stupid can you motherfuckers be?
Only makes it worse because Donald Trump knows his audience.
Yes, he does. He knows what suckers and losers you are.
He knows us. I've never seen anybody intuit a group of people better than Donald Trump.
Well, that's because you've never seen people go after the dipshit vote so heavily. I mean, it's really let's be honest. Like, he's like, oh my God, there's so many dipshits out there. If I bring them on board and then I offer taxes to the regular Republicans, I'll have that's a coalition.
And this is so unlike Donald Trump saying, nobody cares about this. Nobody's talking about it.
It is. Uh-huh. It's not like him saying, I don't even know these women, and even if I did, they're too ugly to sexually assault.
President
Good God.
Trump, everybody's talking about this.
Uh-huh.
You were talking about this. You told us how important it was. And I...
He also told you that he probably wasn't going to do it, and you guys were like, okay, shrug.
I understand that maybe there might not be any evidence, okay. But the way this is being handled is just making things worse.
Hey, asshole. Let me tell you something. He's all over the files. As bad as you think this is, the Michael Wolff stuff. Okay, I gotta, hold on. Chat room. I don't know how many people have seen, let's see. Michael Wolff, Daily, Michael Wolff, who did the Fire and Fury book, pictures of Trump. Daily Beast, I think, is the thing. I'm gonna find this. Yeah, okay, here we go.
I know that these pictures exist. Two of them with topless girls of an uncertain age sitting on Trump's lap. I remember Steve Bannon said to me, if there were ever photographs, and this was specifically related to the Russian investigation, Trump would merely say, "That's not me. That's somebody else."
Fake news.
And I think that is probably true. I mean, why? I mean, this hasn't been pinned on him yet. Why should it now be pinned on him? But who knows?
Elon could have a whole team at Grok AI now just working on imagery, convincing imagery of Trump, and how would we know?
Yeah, no, and listen, I have seen these pictures. I know that these pictures exist, and I can describe them. There are about a dozen of them. The ones I specifically remember is two of them with topless girls of an uncertain age sitting on Trump's lap, and then Trump standing there with a stain on the front of his pants, and 3 or 4 girls kind of bent over in laughter. They're topless too, pointing at Trump's pants.
Yeah. Hey, Glenn, that's why this shit is not coming out. That's why. Good Lord. That would be worse, you dumbass. Here's the thing. It's making worse. No, it isn't. Trump is making a calculation that you motherfuckers will fall in line at some point. Because no matter what he does, the truth is worse. There is no lie and conspiracy big enough to shock Maga that is worse than the truth of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you understand? There is no fucking way that if he comes forward with stuff, releases all these things, honestly, only redacting victims, that he looks better than he does now. He knows it, and I gotta think, like, fucking Glenn has to know it.
Just making things worse. And we have to have a resolution of this. You can't just say to your supporters, you people are all out of control.
Yeah, he can. He just did. Suck it. I don't know what to tell you. That's exactly what he did, dummy.
Well, wait a minute. We're just asking you, and you don't see how badly this has been bungled? I mean, let's just say there is nothing. Pam Bondi comes out and says, it's sitting on my desk. Was it or not? Was that a lie?
Well, obviously, it was a big pile of nothing.
Or not? It's sitting on my desk. Okay. Then the next day, well, I can't because they're hiding things, the FBI. Was that a lie? I have everything. We're just going through it. Then there is nothing. Which one is it?
It's worse than that, dumb fuck. Whatever she was looking at or not looking at that did or did not exist was apparently typed up by Hillary Clinton and Obama, because not only do they hate Donald Trump, but they really hate Prince Andrew and Bill Gates, I guess. Now, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, and I think that shows taste and breeding on your part. There are, here. It's hard to pick out. Well, here you go. The next big step, the thing that happened in the last, 12, 15 hours, is apparently Ghislaine Maxwell is offering to speak before Congress and give up everybody that would be on the list for a plea deal. And there are a bunch of Republicans that are slamming the brakes on that shit right now. They're like, never happened, not going to happen. I mean, just her conversation alone would set off Mike Johnson's porn app probably. So that, that'll be his out. But I know. Well, no, Hub 28 says, Hub 29, you can't make this shit up anymore. Yes, you can. You just wouldn't. It's too dumb. Okay, so let's go to another big fan of Trump, Trish Regan, who apparently in all of her shots is trying to look like, I don't know, the cover on a box for a blow-up doll. Breaking. Ghislaine Maxwell to testify before Congress and expose the Epstein client list. Now, that's not actually what's happening. I think she's offered. That doesn't mean she's gonna.
And we are live. This is a very perplexing story.
No, it really isn't. It's pretty easy to figure out if you're not a complete asshole. If you're not a sucker and a culty maggot moron, it's so clear.
Shall we say, to say the least, Ghislaine Maxwell. Wow. Now, in the news big time, as all of this Jeffrey Epstein stuff comes to a head, it is...
This stuff. There is no stuff. Didn't you hear Trump? There's no stuff, okay? There's no files, there's no list, and there's sure as shit no stuff, lady.
Great to have you all here. We've got a very big show today. I am Trish Regan.
Yeah.
And it looks as though Epstein's ex...
Look at this, Chiron. You know when you can't just do like Epstein's ex threatens, Trump or whatever. Epstein's ex, Ghislaine Maxwell, threatens to tell all as she demands appeal. Biden's 8K plus auto pen pardons may be null and void. No, they're not. Including Fauci's. Nope. Tom Homan goes nuclear on anti-DHS sanctuary cities. That's just like smoke screen.
Is suggesting she'll come forward and testify before Congress. She's threatening to reveal names. She's threatening to reveal the entire list.
How is that a threat? Sorry, there is no list. Haven't you been listening to Pam Bondi and Donald Trump? It doesn't exist. What's she going to do? Come out and just make shit up?
We'll see if she makes it, right? Because I think Jeffrey tried that once before. It didn't work so well. Anyway, it is very clear that this is very much a focus, I think.
Well, I guess she does have something to worry about, largely because, Trump was president when Jeff died, and he's back, so Ghislaine's probably in danger.
From everyone right now. Again, we are live right now. We are live, and it's great to have you all here. And I appreciate you subscribing. I appreciate you. I'm just letting the team know.
Yeah, let them know.
That we want to make sure that we get out a tweet to let everybody know we are here live. It's great to have so many of you here. Do me a favor, make sure you hit the bell so that you know exactly when I'm going live. It would be great. Anyway, we've got all that going on. We're going to dig into it because my buddy Dan Bongino, he's completely getting the shaft here. It completely stinks for him because he's such a good guy and he doesn't just...
It does. It stinks. It stings like his, Bangholio is looking for teepee. Teepee for his bunghole. Bangholio.
Deserve any of this. Pam Bondi.
Yeah, it kind of does. He made a big deal out of making a lot out of Epstein and the case and pretending to give a shit about the victims. And then he went to work for the dude's best friend. The fuck do you expect?
It doesn't look like she's too willing to step down, nor is the president willing to toss her. So
Bangholio goes, Teepee, are you threatening me? I'm not coming to work on Friday.
What does that actually mean? The president weighing in on all of this today. We're going to get to that. Plus, we get all these auto pen pardons, which are now coming into focus. And Fauci, you may be in trouble, buddy boy, because it turns out that they were all auto penned. Everything. Well,
yeah, it doesn't matter. He reviewed them and he allowed them. If he says yes, it doesn't matter if they're auto penned. You know how I know? Because Trump auto penned the fucking Jan 6ers, dummy.
Except for one. That would be Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden himself. That's the only one he signed off on. So that's a big deal. We got Tom Homan going nuclear on these sanctuary cities and nuclear actually on some heckler in the crowd. I want to show you some of that video. Meanwhile, Rosie O'Donnell, could she be kicked out of the country for good? She's already left, right? She's over there in Ireland. Revoked. Ghislaine Maxwell.
There we go.
Ghislaine, however you say it. She's there in a maximum security, forgive me, a non-maximum security prison. And
is that what they call them? Yeah, you mean a minimum security prison?
Epstein's ex, Ghislaine, is now apparently, reportedly, willing to talk, offering to come in and testify before Congress.
Yeah.
What do you know? And offering to cough up that so-called list.
Right. That doesn't exist.
of people that may have engaged in some a really bad and criminal behavior. So is she the missing link in all this? You know, one of the things that has frustrated me about this story is that nobody's actually talking about Ghislaine. Like, they're all talking about Jeffrey Epstein, but I'm like, wait a second, we still have somebody alive who knows a lot of information. So why?
Oh, yeah. No. People are talking about her, mainly making the, I think, largely a joke about it, that what the fuck is she in jail for? If there are no files and there's nothing, she didn't do anything wrong.
Why are we not getting anything from her?
If it was all concocted by the left, why hasn't Trump freed her already?
Unless, of course, she knows what's going to happen if she starts singing like a canary, dare we say, and that gets into something I do want to talk about, and whether or not he was indeed a spy for intelligence agencies. So there's a big story in the Daily Mail today saying that she is willing, she's communicating that she's willing to come forward and testify before Congress. Even just suggesting this or planting a story like this is actually very risky for her. I mean, think about if you're to believe into the idea that her dad was a spy, possibly for Israel or the CIA. It's been suggested even the KGB. Who knows, right? But he may have been.
The KGB? I mean, the King James Bible? Does the King James Bible have spies? I suppose they do.
Selling intelligence. If she's from that family business line, if you believe that, I kind of do myself.
Yeah, because that's how spies work. It's a father to son business. You pass it on to your progeny. When they're born, at their at the bris or at the coming out of the whatever, I guess where they have like a spy version of a Belle of the Ball, where they like have cotillion, and then they're handed their top secret clearance.
And we can talk about that some more, but this is a risky thing for her to come out and even communicate. Because what's going to happen?
Is it more risky for her to remain silent with people knowing she has the information? Dummy. At least this way, she's like, I'm willing to talk and I don't need a deal and I will do my time and fuck you.
Happen?
That way, if, people know she wasn't going to do herself in, if that happens.
Oh, she saw what happened to her dad. She saw what happened to her ex-boyfriend and her
And she probably's like, doesn't happen to chicks. Only the dudes.
Business partner, apparently. And she's got to be looking at this and saying, wait a second, is this going to happen to me too? Apparently they never offered her a plea deal. And so now she's like, okay, well, I can put some of this stuff to bed. So will she actually be brought before Congress to testify? Of course, the Democrats would love it. And they may be even the ones planting this story at this moment in time.
Why would they do that? I guess because they made up the story and they want Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and anybody, Billy the Kid and Mr. Bill to get busted.
But she's also trying to use whatever leverage she has to try and get out of this 20-year sentence. Because don't forget, this woman is sitting in jail.
Right. And I think most people, as awful as she is, would be okay with her time being cut in half if she gave up billionaire pedophiles who are, in theory, still out there offending. Because, the chances that she's going to be able to round up youngins for somebody fairly slim in the future. But those guys that she could tell on arguably are still forcing themselves on underage girls right now. So would you rather have those guys in jail or her for, 10 years less or 5 years less or however much they would shave off her sentence, right? I think most people would make that trade.
And she's been sitting in jail, and she...
Except Trump. Sorry. And most people would make that trade, except Trump, who clearly does not want her talking to Congress.
Is arguing that she shouldn't be in jail because given what happened with that sentence that was delivered courtesy...
Oh, Stacey, oh my God, thank you so much. Oh, I made it to 83K? That's fantastic. Look at us. Slow and steady wins the race.
...of Alex Acosta, who was the Attorney General of Florida back when Jeffrey Epstein was first brought in.
Yeah, who made him labor secretary? Was it Obama? Was it Biden? Oh, it's Trump, right? Yeah.
Given that sentence, which was very, very light.
Yeah, you'd think that guy would be a pariah. Nobody'd want to be caught dead hanging out with that motherfucker.
He wasn't to have been prosecuted, nor should anyone who have been associated with him have been prosecuted. There was some kind of like blanket statement in there. And so her lawyers are trying to say, hey, you know, the fact that this thing was already out there in Florida means you can't and shouldn't have prosecuted her again. And so they've been going back and forth to the government saying, hey, you know, this is not fair. This is not right. Weigh in.
Also, who cares? Fuck you. Those kind of deals can't be made. You can't make a deal with somebody you've caught to not prosecute the people you haven't caught on their behalf if they don't give them up. Like that would never fly. If that went all the way up to the Supreme Court and the victims of crimes took that to court, that deal would never hold. The fuck? And again, he committed crimes in Paris. He committed crimes on Little St. James, which are international crimes. That's something that the country, the federal government could go after as an international sex trafficker because he flew people out of the United States to that place. Fuck Florida.
Weighing in on this, and oddly, like nobody's weighing in on this. She wants an appeal. She's trying to appeal her case, and so
according to that story, she's not trying. She doesn't want the appeal. She's trying to get out on a technicality is what she's trying to do.
She looks towards that appeal. What is her leverage? Her leverage is that list.
Which would get her killed, I guess.
And so if she's, you know, she wants out. Like, and I suspect if she is in fact an intelligence op and maybe even Jeffrey's handler, if that's what she was, then she should know better than to say, hey, I'm going to sing like a canary unless you do this. Because that may have been perhaps what led to her her ex-boyfriend's downfall, her dad's downfall, etc. But let me walk you through what's going on. So she's got a case, and she's been asking for this appeal because she's saying, you know what, like they shouldn't have brought this forward against me because
because of the sweetheart deal given to Jeffrey Epstein by Trump's labor secretary and his current AG.
Already been decided.
Not by the way, not people that Democrats hired or promoted, just for the record.
That you couldn't come back and sue again after what had been decided in Florida. It was something that actually Jeffrey Epstein was looking to appeal on as well.
Well, then why did he kill himself? And again, if there are no files, there's no list, there's no nothing, and it didn't go any further, like, what the fuck did they think they were going to get him on? All right, anyways, you could see where she's just tying herself in a knot around this. Let me show you something else, because the issue seems to be that there is Team Bondi and Team Bongholio. And right now, Trump is on Team Bondi. And Bongholio apparently can go fuck himself, according to Trump, because he was like, I talked to him, he's fine. Meaning that he's not going to quit. He took a day off on Friday, but he'll be back to work anytime now. He's just going to swallow it and move on. And the camps seem to be split in this. Now the question is if Bongholio just folds in under Pam Bondi and keeps his job, nobody's everybody's against the administration. Everybody who was on Team Bongholio doesn't even have like a friend in this. They've been betrayed by the whole group of them. All right. So this is Bendover Johnson, who he says, I just spoke with a top FBI source. What they told me about Bongholio changes everything. Very big. ... Okay. He does this.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. We have some breaking news for you on this program.
It's already broken.
That I just learned about Dan Bongino and his future.
Bongholio, who is looking for a teepee for his bunghole. He's looking for a teepee. Are you threatening me?
At the FBI, and let me explain to you why this is important to me on a personal level, because we know Dan, he's been a bit of a mentor to me, quite frankly.
You don't say. How long has this mentoring been going on, and did you have a nice June?
goods. Owie, owie, oh. Points and dongs and vests and thongs. Ooh, I love that feeling. Zipper hoods have got the goods. Owie, owie, oh. Boink, boink, doobie-doo. You know what I wanna do. Yay! Boink, boink, doobie-doo. You know what I wanna do. Butt stuff.
I'm not saying that Bongholio and Benny engaged in butt stuff, but if they did, I feel like it's totally fine, and they should. They might be happier if they just admitted that their love is not a love that dare not speak its name anymore. It's 2025.
He's always been very helpful in our show, even calling me randomly to give me pointers on certain things.
Really? Mm-hmm. On just asking you, hey, what are you wearing?
And on certain builds, and he's just been a wise advisor. He's always been good.
Until...
And he's been solid. He
no doubt.
Cares a lot about this company.
Mm-hmm. Bonk, take, bonk, 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 take, bonk. We care a lot about Bongholio and the problems that he has. We care a lot.
And he has a heart of gold and a very big heart. And he's somebody that wants to make it a better place. He wants to destroy evil people, and he wants to help MAGA. He is totally MAGA.
I don't think so. No, I don't buy it. I mean, he's obviously not supporting Trump, and he didn't show up for work on Friday. So, I'm sorry, MAGA means being the deputy director of the FBI and not showing up for work because you're upset. That's MAGA now. I guess we're broadening the definition of MAGA.
And so I have a personal connection to this story. When I saw this headline on Friday, it sucked.
Did it? Sorry. It's fine.
Because Dan's doing great work at the FBI.
No, he's not. He's sitting at his desk, lonely and bitching at the walls. What's he doing? He hasn't done shit, dummy. What's the big case the FBI broke that wasn't like already in the chute from last year? They're buttoning up and convicting or arresting people, but it's all shit that started 2 goddamn years ago.
And I think he's in a position that, quite frankly, he was built for. And that, I think he could do really, I think he could really do God's work at that organization if given enough time and enough power.
Yeah.
Power as the deputy.
He doesn't have that kind of power as the deputy director.
The director of the FBI.
Nope.
And Donald Trump personally asked him to be in this position.
The shitty position that he finds himself in.
And the fallout from the Epstein saga, of course, caused Dan to say, I'm not even, it's going to be really tough to return to my show, to do what I love to do after all of this. If it really goes south, will people trust me? Because they don't trust this stuff. And we haven't done it in the right way.
Who's we, motherfucker?
Now, I called a number of people.
Jesus Christ.
With direct knowledge of this. And this was Dan's frustration. Is that the disclosures were not great, and the way that it was handled, and the way that it was.
What disclosures? Oh, you mean the memo where they said there will be no more disclosures? They want the non-existent disclosures that you're not going to disclose, that have not and will not be disclosed, have not been handled well.
At least not great, and that he was being blamed in part for it.
Oh no!
And so Dan didn't show up to work. And sort of gave an ultimatum to President Trump.
He did?
And said, hey, listen, Pam Bondi either goes, right, or I go. And he and Pam Bondi had quite a bit of a blow-up at the White House on Wednesday. Wow. Dan hadn't showed up to work since. Some people saying he didn't show up to work on Friday. No, it was Wednesday. So this is, bad, because these are really good people.
They are.
And you need them fighting the good fight. You need as many warriors as you can in this battle.
Yeah, especially when they're fighting each other.
Neither did the American people, by the way. Probably the most viral clip from Turning Point's conference this weekend was Megyn Kelly asking the crowd of 7,000 rock-solid MAGA patriots,
do you care about the Epstein files? And they all said yes, really loudly.
What do you think about Dan Bongino? Would you prefer that he leave or Pam Bondi? Listen to this.
He's not Who would you guys prefer, Bongino or Bonnie? Okay, 7,000 to 0.
They want Dan. Of course, Dan, you know why? Because
of course they do. He's male.
Dan understands MAGA. Dan's part of the MAGA movement. Dan's been an important piece of it and a mouthpiece for like really important ideas and an advocate and a fierce warrior.
Sorry, we're talking about Dan Bongino, right? I don't know who this person you're describing is. I just know this kind of angry dipshit who blathers MAGA talking points and has a real hard time figuring out what the last paragraph he read that he showed on screen meant.
He's been in the trenches. I mean, with all due respect to Pam Bondi, she's been in Florida. She represented the president.
Fucking Florida. What do you know? Florida. Fuck Florida. Thank you, Megyn Kelly. She's been in Florida. What kind of an asshole lives in Florida? Jeffrey Epstein. That's who. You know, a 9-minute Uber from Mar-a-Lago, actually. But
it's nice. But do you think she really gets MAGA? I don't think so.
Florida doesn't get MAGA.
She wouldn't have behaved this way if she did. And now it's a time for choosing. It's a time.
It's a time for a choosing. It's a time for choosing. Well, I guess they chose Bongholio and Bondi. You have to go back to everyone going, oh my God, are you that Miss Teen USA who fucked up that answer about the Iraq?
For choosing.
So, I mean, that's pretty demonstrable, right?
It is pretty demonstrable.
I spoke at the same conference. I can tell you the same thing, right?
You didn't get nearly as much applause as Megan did, but I mean, come on.
The loudest roar that we received in our speech was...
Thank you, Dennis.
When I said, you have got to release these Epstein files. It's tough love from a friend.
It is. It's very tough love from a friend. These are very hard times, you guys. It's tough love. It's really like getting fucked with a sandpaper condom more than tough love, but you know.
You know?
I do.
Let me tell you what.
What?
I just did some phone calls.
You just did some phone calls. He just did some phone calls.
And I found out that...
What I found out was...
Bongino not only is back working at the FBI.
He's back, but he's not happy.
That cooler heads have prevailed here. That Dan is actually working on something very, very important.
Because he wasn't at all before.
And also, everything's changed. Oh,
everything has changed. Now he loves Pam Bondi. And they showed him video of himself at Mar-a-Lago when a guy that's in the Epstein tapes was sitting at his table. And now they're like, watch yourself, Bongholio, you asshole.
Yeah. There is a positive mood for Dan, according to my source, after further internal movement towards Epstein disclosures and transparency.
Which still aren't happening.
Trump team is back together on locking in. That's what I was told directly by my source. And people...
Which would be who?
Love this. I mean, I just put this up, and it's flying. People want to see this. They definitely don't want to see Dan go. That's a matter of fact. But this is what else I got from another source, is that, well, there are some big things happening that...
Sorry, you're reading your own fucking tweets?
We may not be able to see right now, but it's...
Yeah, definitely.
...been very positive. All of, you in the comment section.
The change in approach to Epstein has been dramatic. You mean from the potential for some disclosures to none?
Posting on X, writing right here, letting your voice be heard in whatever way that you do that.
Bro, you do you.
Ladies and gentlemen, further sources confirm to me that there's going to be a major change in approach to the way that this Epstein file will be handled by the administration. Expect more disclosures. Very powerful people inside the admin are now pushing for a special counsel.
Yeah. It's very powerful people. Not Trump and not Susie Wiles.
Full press briefing on Epstein findings. Important to note that this drastic change happened after our voices were heard. Also, Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and a number of other people, Charlie Kirk, really locking in and giving some tough love to the administration over this.
That's right, they did. It was tough love. Bam. Oh, let me see if I can find this for you. Hold on one second. There we go. It was on. This is the first time I've ever seen. There we go. These guys. Yeah, here you go. Rasmussen reports. This was. Yeah, here you go.
Donald Trump's approval rating.
So I had never seen Rasmussen, which is Trump's favorite group. Hold on. Favorite pollster, actually do a video before. I didn't know they did them because, Jesus Christ. But they do. They've got, their channel has like 128,000 subscribers, something like that. This has 25,000 views from 4 days ago. Rasmussen report, Trump plunges. And the image that Rasmussen, Trump's favorite pollster, is using is like a laughing ghost head of Epstein looking at Trump like he's haunting him. And then this dude from Rasmussen going, well, we told you so. Check this out.
Donald Trump's approval rating is getting absolutely destroyed. The last couple of days, it's a complete reversal from where he was just a week, 2 weeks ago. And
what's really destroying me is that fucking computer from like 98. Jesus Christ, man.
A lot of people are blaming Epstein. So we're going to take a look if that's
the dead guy.
Potentially what's causing this. That's right. Epstein, the same Epstein who was convicted of being a sex offender, the same Epstein who ostensibly took his own life in a very
and who was Donald Trump's buddy for 25 years.
High security jail. The same Epstein that was a Trump administration campaign item. The same Epstein that people in the Trump administration have been promising to get to the bottom of.
And the same Epstein who has Polaroids of Donald Trump having ejaculated from girls sitting on his lap as they laughed at him and pointed at the stain on his pants like a fucking 14-year-old at a strip club.
All of a sudden, in the last day or two, it's been a complete reversal. All of a sudden, there's a report out of the DOJ that there's nothing to see here. Now, we've been the first to say that the previous Epstein happenings haven't really been moving the numbers, but now all of a sudden the numbers are moving. And so maybe this is what's causing it, but we'll look at maybe also a few potential causes. But here is, in my opinion, a very good example about how the Trump administration messaging on this is completely off.
Really? The whole, like, some of them say, like, her saying she has it on her desk and him saying it doesn't exist, and she says they're just going through it so they can redact victims' names, and him saying that it was all concocted by Hillary, like the Christopher Steele dossier, which, by the way, was paid for by the Washington Free Beacon, because the Republicans wanted to stop Trump in his tracks, and then when he won he was starting to win the primaries, they fell in behind him and decided not to go with it, and Christopher Steele went to take it to Hillary Clinton, sell it to her, and she's like, we'll buy it, but we can't use this because we think we're going to win anyways, and this is gross, and we don't have to go there just to win. We'll win on the issues. And one of her lawyers was like, this is a fucking crime. We need to take this to the FBI, and they did.
And listen, if they want this Epstein thing to go away, there's a very clear way to message it, and I'll get into that. Trump shrugs off questions over Epstein memo, calling them a desecration. CNN, President Donald Trump on Tuesday shrugged off questions around a new Justice Department memo about accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein,
it was super fun.
Calling them a desecration. Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years, Trump said during a cabinet meeting after a reporter directed a question to Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's been the subject of MAGA blowback. After the Justice Department said on Monday, there is no evidence Epstein kept a client list or was murdered. You're asking, we have Texas, the floods. We have Vinny asking a question
we saw
of the one big beautiful.
I don't know why you wouldn't just play the clip.
There were people down there breaking the law, and we are going to invest in them. They probably have signed documents in order to get their hush fund payments. How about you go knock on a few doors, investigate people? Why don't you? Hey, we know one was down there, Prince Andrew. Why don't we get an investigation of him? Get him to name some names. I'm just saying, there's stuff that could be done.
Yeah, I'm just saying. And this is Mark Mitchell, head pollster at Rasmussen. This is the biggest group of Trump suck-ups in the world of polling. They're making these videos. Shock Epstein hurting Trump's polls jeopardizes political capital. That's why this changed. That's what happened. It wasn't even the Charlie Kirk stuff. It was the dude from Rasmussen talking to Trump. Or just Susie Wiles.
They were met with massive roars and applause from the 7,000 gathered and could not be ignored. In short, our voices are being heard and power to the people. It's a beautiful thing to see. And I want to see Dan back at work. This, of course, is not exactly the right headline.
Good save, bro. Yeah. You mean the talking point you got from your handlers in the White House is different from the inside scoop that CNN's people got by talking around there? Yeah. Genius.
I don't hear that Dan is in limbo. I hear that Dan is back at work and that he's had a very good détente with Donald Trump and that there's going to be changes. White House statement seems to suggest that Dan Bongino isn't resigning from the FBI.
What White House statement?
That is true.
Yeah, that's like, he's a good guy. I know him a long time. He's in good shape. He's fine.
Here's what President Trump said yesterday about Bongino. Donald Trump smiled, said he loves Dan. He wants Dan. Dan must stay. Here we go.
Oh, I think so. I did. I spoke to him today. Dan Bongino, very good guy. I've known him a long time. I've done his show many, many times. And he sounded terrific, actually. No, I think he's in good shape.
Yeah, she asked, is he still the deputy director of the FBI? And he said, I think so.
Kash Patel also said in a post that he is staying, obviously, and he's going to serve at the pleasure of the president.
Yeah, no shit. We saw him on Rogan.
Everybody celebrated this online, obviously.
Obviously.
Dan Bongino is a very good guy. I've known him for a very long time. Does it sound like somebody who's trying to fire Dan Bongino or trying to cause a war? No.
He's trying to cover up the whole thing. So if Bongino, if he quits in protest, it draws more attention. They're leveraging him behind the scenes.
He's a good guy. I've known a long time. He sounded terrific. He's in great shape. Let me be crystal clear. If Bongino is allowed to resign while Bondi stays in place, it is irreparable damage. And it would be a huge win for those trying to destroy our country from the inside out.
Sorry, so Pam Bondi is trying to destroy our country from the inside out, and you're cool with her staying. Whether Bongholio comes or goes shouldn't be it shouldn't make a lick of difference, asshole. If she's, the one, everybody hates her, Megyn Kelly hates her, if she stays in her job, whether the two of them leave her, and again, by the way, if he sticks around and then she goes, what the fuck then this is exactly what that leverage from the FBI was supposed to do, I guess. And Trump is just bouncing another woman.
They are absolutely, I would say, trying to destroy the Trump administration. Maybe kill it in the cradle before it gets started, right?
Who they? Fuck are you talking about? These are all self-inflicted wounds. Jesus. Okay, so you get the general idea about Bendover and Glenn Beck and Trish Regan. And the other big story, hold on one second, is, Ghislaine Maxwell, is going to speak or whatever. And I got to say, if you're one of the maggot talking heads, you're going to jump on a lot of these things because you make your living online, which side of the bread the butter goes on. And so you're going to make videos about these things. But if you've got 4 open sexual assault charges in 2 different countries, maybe sit this one out. This is Rusty Trombone. I'll tell all, a new twist in the Epstein cover-up. There's footage of her speaking on, from the jail.
Let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals.
Epstein files, the story, the scandal, the conversation rolls on.
Also, I guess Dershowitz is lying through his teeth. They are not being suppressed because they are protecting people. They're being suppressed because they are fiction written by Hillary Clinton.
Because I suppose in the liminal space between what we assumed would happen with a MAGA populist Trump-led government and what has happened exist questions like this. Are there powers that transcend and supersede the power even of the executive branch?
Or is it possible that you're a fucking sucker? I am so tired of this bullshit where these guys go, there must be some cabal pulling the strings. That doesn't have to be, you dumb motherfucker. Epstein's best friend is the president of the United States right now. He's a serial sexual assaulter. He's an adjudicated rapist. There is no fucking mystery.
Of the American government in the form of the most idiosyncratic, divisive, and in some ways brilliant political leader there's been in the modern era, Donald Trump. A report has undercut the Department of Justice.
If he was brilliant, he would have passed an infrastructure bill.
His assertion that a video it released of Epstein's final hours in prison was unedited, but Wired determined the hours of long footage released by the DOJ to quell conspiracies involving Epstein's 2019 custody suicide was likely modified using the professional video editing software Adobe Premiere Pro. The file appears to have been...
There's an edit. I don't know why he has to cut that chunk out. What in the world could this asshole have said that they were like, nah, that goes too far?
Assembled from at least 2 source clips, saved multiple times, exported and then uploaded to the Department of Justice web.
Now, listen to that part again.
2 source clips, saved multiple times.
At least 2 source clips, saved multiple times. That's an overwrite. When you save something and then save something again, and then you save something again, you're erasing elements of the metadata. You copy it and then you copy it again. You do that on purpose. The last time they did it, they probably saved that software, the clips themselves so many times, and then they sausaged them together in Adobe Premiere.
Exported and then uploaded to the Department of Justice website, the magazine wrote. That conclusion was reached by video forensics experts who studied the footage's metadata. Hani Farid, professor at the University of California at Berkeley, whose research
there's 2 T's in that. I'm just saying.
Focuses on digital forensics and misinformation. Well, misinformation is a category that's been invented in order to ensure that only the information the government wants you to have reaches you. But what's fascinating now is there's been a regime change in the United States of America.
And they're directly doing it now?
The terms misinformation and disinformation were invented during the Biden administration.
No, they weren't.
Were promoted by Obama directly and vociferously in order to ensure that pro-MAGA populist media could be shut down. Now, of course, we have a new...
Which never happened. How would it ensure it when that wasn't even the attempt?
New question, a new challenge. What happens when your man, for the majority of our viewers here, is in government? And by that, of course, I mean the notable, notorious, and marvelous Donald Trump.
And marvelous, says the... guy with 4 sexual assault, rape, and violent sexual assault charges against him in the UK and Los Angeles. Marvelous.
Still don't get some of the things you anticipated. What questions does that bring to the forefront? Let me know what you think. If a lawyer brought me this file and asked if it was suitable for court, said this dude, I'd say, go back to the source, do it right. Do a direct export from the original system. No monkey business. Farid said his issues with the clip go beyond its metadata, however. He claims its aspect ratio shifts noticeably at multiple points. Why am I suddenly seeing a different aspect ratio, he remarks. So let's look into that. I know a lot of you guys are super smart in the Rumble chat, so why don't you tell us, why would there be a new aspect ratio? What does that suggest? Now, this is Benny Johnson.
Did they do it? Did the Rumble chat pipe up and tell him?
Ghislaine Maxwell is reportedly prepared to speak before Congress to tell her story. What do you think about that? There's a woman in jail right now. Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, is ready to reveal the truth of the paedophile client list, say insiders. So why are Republicans blocking her? The post I was sent was alleged to be...
God damn, the cuts in this. Look at this. I mean, when you're turd polishing, I would imagine you're you're going to need to take a lot of breaks to get some more paper towels.
Say insiders. So why are Republicans blocking it? The post I was sent was alleged to be from someone working at the institution where Epstein was being held. And he said that Epstein on that night was taken to a medical facility and that a vehicle arrived at the same facility that was not registered in the customary way. Now, obviously, anyone can make these claims. You have to recognize that a post online where someone claims that they work at an incarceration facility could, of course, be forged. But in the chat, someone said, well, all you need to do is check the IP address of this post to see if that person was in that vicinity at the time they made the claim that Epstein was transferred, and you would have at least some verification of its authenticity. Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat.
God damn, is this dude just trying to, like, shuffle stuff around?
Epstein's former lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, swearing he knows that documents are being suppressed to protect individuals. I also heard he was on it. So, I mean, this is so complicated.
This is not an
It is so complicated.
opinion. This is a fact. I have seen, remember, I was accused falsely on the Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent.
You're not innocent. You were close with Jeffrey Epstein for a long time. You helped him perpetuate the crimes that he carried out by being his lawyer, by being his friend, by everybody that partied with him is on the hook once they knew. And Dershowitz still hung with him after.
So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality.
To who?
From...
The only person that I know of that he's a lawyer for that isn't dead in the case of Jeffrey Epstein is Trump. He repped Jeffrey Epstein, but he also was Trump's lawyer. So if he's... I mean... I would argue this is an admission that Trump is who he's talking about.
A judge and cases.
Hey, check this out. Trump got ratioed for the first time ever on Truth Social when posting about the Epstein files. He's an extremely popular president, particularly, of course, among you.
No, he isn't.
Most of you are vocal, vociferous, and dedicated supporters of Donald Trump.
That's because this broadcast primarily on Rumble.
I would say, of course, that he's the politician the age demanded, the president the time required, amidst all the sort of ineptitude and...
Yes, we are in a really silly version of the simulation.
Decrepitude of the previous administration, someone that is robust, even while, of course, I recognise being a senior dude, was exactly what was needed. Someone that was schooled in social media more broadly, but was able to apply those techniques to social media. President Donald Trump's weekend post defending AG Pam Bondi's handling of the Epstein files has triggered an unprecedented backlash, making the first time the Republican has been ratioed on his own social media platform. So this is
I'd like to also point out that this is Rusty Trombone citing Newsweek after he cited CNN, after he cited a bunch of other Daily Mail, legacy media, regular media, which he always shits on as being kind of the mouthpiece of propaganda of the deep state or the Illuminati or whatever the fuck. But anytime he needs an actual quote or actual news, he goes straight to it. It's the lamest, lowest rung hypocrisy you will find on all these maggot channels.
Really, it's just them desperately grasping at a bit of
It's like if I went to like Gutfeld's show and used him as my source for an opinion or a piece of information. Like, well, if Greg says it.
Give stuff about Trump. Here's Trump's Truth Social post. What's going on with my boys, and in some cases gals? They're all going... And I don't want to hurt him. All over a guy who never dies. It was written by Obama, Crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration who conned the world with their Russia hoax, 51 intelligence agents, and the laptop from hell, and more. I think that a lot of people are going to be on there, and that's what we're sort of looking forward to, isn't it? I mean, that's what I was looking forward to, and I have to recognize I got skin in the game, because I want to see, files released where it goes, we're like, oh my God, I knew it. I knew those people are so corrupt. It will relieve me to feel it. I'll feel like, yes, got them.
Yeah, it's that whole Trump being the main character that you got to deal with. I don't think that'll be the feeling you get.
I also recognise, and as Bill O'Reilly said, that there are probably people that had relationships with Epstein that were just using his private jet. I mean, I ask you this. If someone said to you, do you want to use a private jet for nothing? Is your answer yes or no? What do you say? I'm like, yes, I do.
Well, no. I would not automatically do that. Especially if I had other options. If I was wealthy and well known.
Have you ever been on a private jet?
Yes, I have.
Have you got any idea how much better it is than being in an airport? It all goes away. Everything, the horror, the hell of airport just gone like that.
By the way, what he means by horror and hell of airports, he means other people. The public. Ick. I happen to like the public, so it's never been a problem for me.
By money. I mean, you know, you can forgive people for using free private jets, I think. Can you? Let me know in the comments and chat. What?
Jesus Christ. He's doing the same thing Glenn Beck is doing, which is trying to farm this out to everybody. Holy shit. Okay, so there's one more thing I'm going to do. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so the other one was on the tail end of this, and then on, Wednesday, we'll start chipping away at some of this other stuff that's going on with the tariffs and all that, but everything's been punted. This is really all that's eating up, any of the other stories that I see popping up on right-wing media are there to distract from the Epstein story. Right? Yeah, this noose is tightening. Dude needs to slow down and detox. I don't think you can detox from being a scumbag. I think you're stuck. But here's Megyn Kelly, the queen of the anti-Bondi crowd. MAGA demands more transparency.
Why do you say they did not do that about the prison cell?
Oh, and this is the asshole that Schellenberger, who's all about the censorship industrial complex. I'm sure he will be raging about the fact that the FBI said there's nothing to see here, and Trump said was shutting down reporters, saying, "Why are you even asking about that?"
Video. I mean, I know there's a missing minute before midnight, and now there's a report out that the video itself has been, I don't want to say manipulated, which makes it sound nefarious, but that change.
But manipulated, sure.
Were made to it prior to it being released. Dan admitted on Fox and Friends that they were cleaning it up so that it was more easy to see. And that minute before midnight, I think his defenders would say, what kind of a ninja could get in and out of the cell in a minute and commit this murder? Like, if you believe that.
Yeah, you don't need to. It doesn't show there are multiple paths to and from Epstein's cell that don't entail you being on camera at all. That angle is so shitty. And that minute would absolutely solve the issue of that person walking back across the floor and just getting rid of them in that minute.
I got a spaceship I want to sell you. But I think there are people like Julie K. Brown who say, like, her response to all that was, you're debating what happened at a Starbucks in Austin instead of talking about JFK getting shot in the head in Dallas. Her point has been that video doesn't show Epstein's cell. It shows a common area down the hallway from Epstein's cell. And we have no idea what prisoners may have had access to Epstein, what deal may have been struck with them, how easy it was for them to get to him. Even in his cell alone, if you want to argue there was that just allowing him to commit suicide was what was done as opposed to actual murder. He was given 2 mattresses when most people had 1. He was given extra linens when that was forbidden. A couple weeks after he had tried to kill himself. So there's a couple of theories abounding, but I'm curious why you think Dan didn't live up to the promise on the tape.
Why Dan didn't live up to the promise on the tape. Bongholio, how can you? Sorry, 1 second.
Well, I mean, he said both he and Patel said that we would be getting the original prison video. I mean, the exact quote from Patel was, "We're going to give the original Epstein prison video, so you don't think there were any shenanigans." I was joking with a friend of mine. I was like, one of the most endearing quality of Republicans is that they're such bad liars. The Democrats are really good at it, but this is clear misinformation. you can see in the metadata that the video was assembled from 2 source clips, saved multiple times, exported and uploaded to the Department of Justice's website.
By the way, this asshole is quoting the Daily Beast article. This isn't something he came to. That is a direct quote from the Daily Beast article, which he would shit on as being Democrat propaganda half the time.
You can see this both in the Wired report, also CoffeeZilla, a really underrated podcaster, did a really incredible investigation of it. Moreover, it doesn't, as you said, it doesn't actually dispel suspicions in any way. It contradicts the previous assertion that all the inmates were in their cells by 8 p.m. Now, that was the previous assertion. The new DOJ memo says Epstein was out of his cell around 10:40 p.m., which is consistent with a distant orange image in the footage that appears near the staircase to the cell block. But what's still unexplained is why the prison guards failed to complete their mandatory rounds and inmate counts that night, and then why they falsified their statements and records by claiming they had. So there's just...
Yeah, it's just... but at least... You have a direct shot of the door of his cell, and it's 10 hours of it, and nobody came or went.
Too many... the other thing was that we also saw this huge escalation. In 2019, the DOJ said that the Epstein indictment referred to dozens of victims. Now they say it's 1,000 victims. That's the memo that the Trump administration just put out. So there was 1,000 victims. So there's just so many... missing.
And Michael, just to go back, we talked about this in hour 1. We pulled up the old DOJ documents from right around the time Epstein cut that sweetheart plea deal in 2008. And in one of the related documents in settling a civil case with the victims, the DOJ is on record as admitting he had approximately 30 victims as of 2008 from all around the country. So
And you were cool with Alex Acosta being made the labor secretary, considering that's the guy who gave him that deal. That never affected you in any way. That never made you do the dog hearing car brakes. Never made you kind of question at all. That never. And then Pam Bondi, who was also a part of it, her being made AG. Like him giving promotions to everybody involved in covering up or covering for or allowing, freedom to Jeffrey Epstein.
2008, it was 30. And then he cut a deal. And from 2008 to 2019, or to 2019, when he died, he amassed another 970 victims.
Obviously not, right? That was the part of the sweetheart deal.
Obviously not. Maybe you should talk to somebody who was friends with him during that time. I'm fucking with you.
Was to cover up the full scale of the operation. I've heard it. There's a sort of a story going around now that this is all sort of a conspiracy theory.
Sort of.
That we don't know. What they got. This is the Miami Herald in 2019. Reported that FBI agents found a cache of thick black binders, all labeled with names that contain hundreds of naked or semi-naked photographs on CDs that Epstein stored in various places. The picture that Bondi was sort of presenting was, well, he just had some child porn that he had downloaded on his laptop. That is just absolutely contradicted by all of the court cases, by what's been reported.
Yeah.
The intelligence community ties are amazing.
Let's talk about that. I don't think you got to listen to my discussion with Ben, but Ben does not believe, from the sound of it, that he was an intelligence agent or asset, though we agreed asset is a lesser charged term than agent. But still, for my purposes, I don't care, because I think the government would have an interest in protecting him under either label. And he doesn't put much stock
asset or agent, right,
into the reports about Alex Acosta, who was the U.S. attorney handling the case for the feds when they went after Epstein in 07, 08. Because the best thing we have against Acosta is a hearsay statement reported by Vicky Ward in the Daily Beast in 2019, in which she claimed that a Trump transition team official had told her that when they went to Acosta, when they were considering him for labor secretary, he said, this isn't going to come back to haunt us, because Epstein was I don't want to say
belong to
without-
intelligence.
Yeah, I don't want to have the wrong language, but I do have it written down in front of me that he, quote, belongs to intelligence and that he is, quote, above my pay grade. I was told he was above my pay grade and that he...
Which is just horseshit.
That he, quote, belonged to intelligence, and it told me to move off of the case, which, I mean, frankly, I believe that. And I know many people don't, because then later Acosta gave that smarmy little on-camera statement at a 2019 presser when he was in trouble. He was about to resign because he was part of the Trump administration. Then Epstein died and all hell broke loose, and he was...
So he died when Trump was president. We're going to lock in on that detail as well.
On his heels, and now he's like, oh, maybe you shouldn't believe everything you read in the press, is essentially what he said. But then when he got interviewed by the Department of Justice's Office of Professional Responsibility, he reportedly behind closed doors said, it's not true that I said that to the Trump transition team.
So he didn't belong to intelligence. So you just gave him the deal because you liked him. You liked the cut of his jib.
Yeah, I mean, if that were all it was, but we also have, I think you did mention to Ben, I heard the last...
What more do you fucking need to hate Trump? Again, this is why TDS is something only maggots can have. You got to be fucking deranged to think that Trump is a good guy.
Part of it,
or that he means what he says.
Ben Manash, the former high-ranking Israeli intelligence officer, who
says
said that
he was his handler.
Yeah, he said he introduced Epstein to Israeli intelligence and that the higher-ups approved of Epstein, one of whom was the former Prime Minister Ehud Barak, who was also the head of Israeli military intelligence. So,
and how many times?
But that might have been why that he wanted, that as a human being, Ehud Barak wanted to participate in the island shit. That it was less about make that dude an asset. Well, we make assets of awful people across the globe. This one can get me laid.
Did Ehud Barak stay at Jeffrey Epstein's house?
I mean, we
stayed at the island. He stayed at both houses. I think he stayed at New York and at Little St. James.
What we report is that Epstein had planned 36 meetings with Barak I'm not sure how many of those meetings actually happened, but I mean, that's a huge number of meetings. Yeah. I mean, the former CIA director the former CIA director under Biden, Bill Burns, has already been, the Wall Street Journal reported that he had 3 unexplained meetings. So, I mean, you kind of look at it, it looks like there was a sex blackmail operation being operated on U.S. soil that the CIA knew about. I mean...
And he died in prison while Trump was president. And his people were in charge.
I just kind of think it's important for people to remember, too, that, like, honeypots or sex blackmail operations... We know that the CIA used those it starts in the 1960s. According to Whitney Webb's reporting, the CIA actually got the idea for them or learned how to do them from the mafia. But, 1975, the CIA operated love traps in New York City and San Francisco where foreign diplomats were lured by
love traps, baby,
by prostitutes in the pay of the CIA. They used one-way mirrors to film the sexual adventures. I'm quoting from Whitney Webb's 2-volume book, One Nation Under Blackmail. So it's not like, it's certainly not outlandish that was what was going on, what was going on is what it appears to have been, which was a sex blackmail operation operated by intelligence. And that's very serious, obviously, because we have a democracy that depends on the idea that we're electing people who are loyal to the citizens and not to some secret.
Right. And if any of this is true, any of it at all is true, Donald Trump was either a participant in it or a victim of it or both over the course of a quarter century, and therefore should be cast out of society, much less political office. I have no problem with anybody that has been mentioned in any of these situations. If it turns out that they were fucking with kids or they were participating in allowing him to further that kind of stuff going as well. I don't care. If they were on our team, piss off. But I don't know why these assholes, none of them can say the same. I want a picture of you and Robbie Crane tomorrow night. I insist.
Secret intelligence agencies.
Yes, tomorrow night is the Ultimate Jam Night, and then, of course, a week from Friday, I'm back at Flappers for our Patreon show.
Well, let me say this. So Ben said that he, after Naftali Bennett put out this statement today saying he was never a Mossad agent, which I have to say I credit not even a little, not even remotely. I don't believe him. I don't actively disbelieve him either, but I don't put any of what would Naftali Bennett say? What would Ehud Barak say? Of course they're going to say no. So it's like, okay, fine, I get. But anyway, Ben said he reached out to Naftali Bennett's office and that they told him, for what it's worth, that they haven't conducted any sort of spying operation on U.S. soil since 1987. I also don't believe that. And what's making me uncomfortable, Michael, is that.
Well, because they wouldn't have to. In this particular case, he wouldn't be a spy. He would just be an asset who tells them things, maybe even to get out of trouble on his own. He leverages information he has to protect his own ass and his assets.
I'm just trying to lay out the facts, and I see.
Or his friends who might, be in the United States or Israel or in the Middle East someplace.
You doing the same. Tucker's saying what his opinion is, which is not outside of the mainstream at all, that he thinks Epstein worked for Mossad or was somehow an asset to them. But this immediately, even if you're as staunch a defender of Israel in general, I haven't defended all the way they've conducted this war, but in general, their right to defend themselves after the horrific attack of 10/7, and of American Jews who are facing overwhelming discrimination on college campuses. Even if you're in my position, you get lunatics out there who accuse you of being like anti-Semitic because.
Boy, what a dodge. How about this? How about just deal with the fucking fact that Donald Trump is all over these fucking things. Like this, look how far this conversation drifted. Anything not to talk about Trump being all over these goddamn files. One last thing. Is this... Yeah, hold on. We got through a bunch of stuff tonight. I'm very proud. Obviously there's a shit ton of it, so it's hard. Excuse me. The taquitos is a great name for Trumpers going forward. I agree. So actually, gets government sanctioned child sex trafficking. Yes, that's what they're trying to do is create this. The deep state runs the whole thing, and even Epstein was just a pawn in it. It's so fucking gross. And then, okay, let me grab one more thing, and then God, there's so much stuff. Like, there's just no way I can get through all of it. Here you go. Meanwhile, let's just, Trump did this, Paula White did this White House Faith Office Luncheon, which is here.
President
all the time. Please sit down. Hi, Scott. So I always said that if I ever became president, I would play that all the time, no matter where I went in the building. But I've never really gotten to do it. I wanted it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Hail to the chief, I think is what he's talking about.
It's so beautiful. And pardon me for being late. We had a great meeting with NATO, the Secretary General, and we're going to do something a little different for this country. We're going to supply weapons to NATO at a large amount. They're going to deliver the weapons, and they're going to pay for 100% of the weapons. So, a little different.
To Ukraine. That's the part he's leaving out. Probably because there are people in that room who are so pro-Russia that they wouldn't like it.
A little different. Hi, John. So we're really, that's a big thing.
Oh, and sorry, I probably should. Let's see. Right out of the gate, that's a rough one. It's a rough nut right now. I'm guessing this is one of those long days.
And we thought we had 4 deals, Howard, right, with Putin. Somehow they end and we get off the phone. Oh, that was a very nice conversation. And then he sends missiles into buildings someplace. I said, what was that all about? So anyway, we're going to be doing that with NATO. And it's fully approved, fully done. We'll send them a lot of weapons of all kinds, and they're going to deliver them.
This is to the House Faith office, the Jesus people, just to clarify.
Those weapons immediately to the site of the war, different sites of the war.
Yeah, somewhere in general.
And
Ukraine, I think, is where you're talking about.
To pay for 100% of them. This all was made possible by going from 2 to 5% a month ago when I went there. So, yeah.
Yay, we're going to be selling arms to Europe. Jesus would love this. Right.
And those countries,
it's just so
those European
weird.
Countries. And I said, look, we have an ocean. It's not fair that we did, because under the Biden administration, we paid about 3.5 times more than they did. We were in for $350 billion. Got nothing for it. We were in for $350, and they were in.
No, we got a lot out of it. Namely, that Ukraine has not fallen.
For 100. So, which really meant one thing.
And also, in the Lend-Lease, they pay us back. And then we would, obviously, the moral victory of supporting the country that was attacked.
Because you have great business leaders here.
But he didn't give a shit about that.
Very simply, that they were better negotiators than our president was. But so this is a very important thing. And hopefully that will come to an end. At the end of 50 days, if we don't have a deal, then we're going to have to do, we have no choice but to do secondary tariffs. You call it secondary tariffs, which
I do. You're right. That is true. I do call it that. I mean, I don't know why I do it. It's just a habit, I guess.
Pretty tough, which we don't want to have to do. But let's see what happens. But we thought we had a deal numerous times.
Nope.
I'd get home, I'd say, First Lady, I had the most wonderful talk with Vladimir. I think we're finished. And then I'll turn on the television, or she'll say to me one time, wow, that's strange, because they just bombed a nursing home.
Jesus. That's a good laugh line.
I said, what? So.
Yeah, nothing should get a bigger fucking laugh at the White House Faith Office luncheon than he just bombed a nursing home.
We don't like that. But I want to thank you all for being here, and welcome to the first ever White House Summit of Faith and Business Leaders. You're really some of the greatest
faith and business leaders. This is the room that Jesus would have cleared out.
Business leaders in the country. When I looked at some of the names, I said, whoa, that's big stuff we have here today.
So it's basically friends of Mike Pillow?
In fact, before I was president, I would have been very intimidated, but now I'm president, so I don't have to. But today we celebrate the core values that built this country: and freedom, hard work, risk-taking, and above all, trust in Almighty God. You're very much into God in this.
Yeah, you're into God. You stalk him on Facebook. You cut pictures of him out and put them on your wall. You're into God. You're very much, what's it called when you're religious, pious? You believe in, you're into God.
And it's very nice. Your business.
It is nice.
Leaders who believe strongly. We have some business leaders that don't believe strongly.
What degree of strength should people believe?
And somehow you and I don't like them as much. But I want to thank Pastor Paula White. She's been my friend for a long time. And John for convening this incredible group. Her husband's one of the most talented musicians in the world. Stand up, John. Stand up. Okay? I stole a couple of his songs for the rallies, and he never sued me, so I was very happy. But we all come from the same place, right? So.
Where? Epstein Island?
It was great, and we appreciate it, John. Thanks as well to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who's doing.
Treasury Secretary, sure.
Doing a fantastic job.
Fantastic job.
He goes on television and he calms the market. I go on television, I rile the market, and I say, we better send him in there, Howard, right? And the market's become so calm and nice. So you're doing a good job, Scott. Thank you very much.
Yes, you're king of the bullshitters.
You make any deals today? We got a lot of them, boy, I tell you. We have, but the best deal is just sending out the paper. You know, they keep saying, well, he hasn't made the deal. Well, we made a number of deals, but why isn't he doing deals? Because the paper is better than any deal we can make. Do you understand? The people in this, Kevin, they asked you that question this morning.
No, nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about, you weirdo.
You were great this morning, but they said, well, when is he going to start making deals? The next time we could say, just no, every time he sends out a document that you have to pay 35% or 25%. Or 50%, or in one case, 100%. Those deals, you can't beat those deals, but we're still willing to.
They aren't deals. They're just threats. You're just using the leverage of the U.S. economy to squash people. That's not a deal. Any president could do that. It's fucking dumb.
Talk, and they all, literally every country wants to make a deal. We're
right, and these aren't deals.
In a good position.
No. We're not.
You would call it a position of strength. I don't talk that way because I'm a politician now, unfortunately. And
what politician doesn't know the phrase "a position of strength"?
I don't want to talk about strength. I just want to say we have to be treated fairly because we were ripped off on trade and the military for, you know, we protected other nations. Nobody paid us. Nobody did anything for us.
Well, because it benefited us.
Nobody helped us, and that's much different. You know, NATO's a much different situation now. When I got in, I believe we were paying for 100% of NATO.
We were not.
And now they're paying, they went from 2%, but they were paying 1%.
Oh, my God.
To 5% that they're paying. That's a big difference.
Oh, my pleasure, Heidi. Thank you for coming to Max and Benny's.
It's about $1 trillion difference. And they're wealthy, for the most part, wealthy countries. And some of them they're among the most powerful, among the wealthiest countries in the world. So,
especially the flock of penguins, man. Those fuckers are rolling in it.
They're going to start paying, and they want to pay. And we had a great meeting about 1 month ago. That set the stage for what happened here, but it's very important. So I want to thank Scott for being
gibberish
here. I want to thank Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. You are doing a good job, Howard.
Good job. He's doing fantastic. You're doing good.
Am I right when I say I really don't want deals? I just want the paper to get sent? Right, it's true. I don't know if this is on television. Yeah, it's always on television.
Yeah, fuck art of the deal. Art of the threat.
SBA administrator and a great person, cabinet member, a friend of mine for a long time, Kelly Loeffler. Kelly, you're doing great.
You couldn't get elected to Senate, so we had to give you a position to cover.
She's small business, right? She only does small business, but when you add it all up, it's the biggest bank in the world by a factor of about 10, right? She's doing a great job. And director of the White House Faith Office, Jenny Korn, who's also amazing. Thanks, Jenny. From the earliest days of our republic,
oh God,
the steady compass of faith has guided the strong hands of American workers, builders, and entrepreneurs like really no other.
He can't say compass because it sets off their porn app.
Our country was founded by pilgrims and believers, and every generation since, Americans of faith have built our communities and forged new industries and enriched our country by millions and millions.
And provided us with oats.
Of people and ways. John D. Rockefeller.
And ways?
J.C. Penney, Charles Goodyear, Truett Cathy, and frankly, we have people I could name right in this room sitting here that name.
Could you, though? I don't think you can. I mean, I know they have names. I just don't think you can name them.
They're every bit as big as that. They were
well, then they should be able to, they're present. Why wouldn't you?
Inspired by their love of God, and now the proud tradition continues with all of you. And this group reminds us, as a nation that prays is a nation that prospers. And you see that, I think one of the reasons is with all of you. And this group reminds us, as a nation that prays is a nation that prospers. And you see that, I think one of the reasons.
A nation that prays is a nation that prospers. I don't know why that's hard to say.
We want so bad is they really wanted to take God and religion out of your lives. And there was no.
They can't, right? That's in the Constitution, too.
Nobody to, look up to. There was just nobody. It was we were freewheeling, and we
were we? That's what these are the choices. You can follow the Lord, or you can just freeball it.
Can't freewheel. No, we have.
No, we cannot freewheel. Free Willy. We can free Willy.
It was we were freewheeling, and we can't freewheel. No, we have to bring religion.
No, we need strict rules. You can't freewheel the 10 Commandments and end up with 3 that you just kind of pay attention to if you feel like
Back
it.
into the country, and we're starting to do that. I think at a very high level.
Yes, at a very high level, like no one's ever seen before.
A very, very high level. You see, churches are starting to fill up again.
Yes, well, there's a lot of reasons to pray.
Under the Trump administration, America is prospering and America is winning like never before. Our country is back. So I was in.
Yes, winning by losing. It's a way of winning like never before.
Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE.
Yes, tell them what the Muslim monarchies said about our country. Tell the faith-based crowd. Tell Paula White and all of her Christian friends there what the Muslim monarchs said about the country.
And then a month ago, we were in Europe with all of the NATO countries, European countries, and plus Canada.
Pagans.
And almost everyone said almost the exact same words.
Or you just heard the same thing over and over.
They said, 1 year ago.
Oh, that's awesome, Erica.
Your country was dead. Terrible term, but that's what it is. Your country was dead. We thought it was finished. And now you've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's true. It's the hottest country. Did you see they found $25 billion of essentially profits last night? They said, where did it come from? It came from management, but it came from tariffs.
What?
And it came from, good business skill.
Did it?
And I've always made money. Now I'm making it for you people. I've had good days and bad days, but in good days and bad days, I always found a way to make money, and we have to do that for our country. But and we did 188 billion in Scott just now, 188 billion in tariffs, 188, and we haven't even started yet. That's only for cars and steel. We actually have barely started.
Yeah, that ain't shit, buddy.
The economy is roaring, business confidence is soaring, incomes are up, prices are down, and inflation is dead. It's dead.
It's a terrible word to use, but
a bad Fed chairman, really bad. If he would lower the rates, and I tried being nice to the guy, it doesn't help. He's like a knucklehead. No, he's a knucklehead.
He's a knucklehead.
Stupid guy.
Stupid guy who could. I'm sure I would love to see the two of you take just a math test at the same time. Just hold that up, like those little signed documents he holds up. Hold up your score at the end of that.
He really is. Mm-hmm. Each point, think of this, each point costs us $360 billion. Billion. 1 point, $360 billion. 2 points, you got $700 billion. And
or whatever 360 adds up to if you double it or triple it. Sorry, who was a knucklehead again?
We're way high.
You sound high.
450 or 425? 450? And how do you go borrow money at 1% when the Fed has you at 450? And, it's not that easy. I get angry at them. Why are we paying so much? Because he's got you up at this number. And we should always be the lowest. Now that we're doing great, we have no inflation. Think of it. Our stock market hit record highs. Everything's hitting a record high.
Yeah, because you keep chickening out and punting on shit, and it's still growing based on last year.
We're really running good with
the only things that have put a dip in it has been when he's fucked around with
inflation. And we should be at 1%. We should We should be less than 1%. I think Switzerland is the lowest at like 0.5%.
Right, and no one uses the Swiss franc for international trade except, I think, Russians bouncing cash into the Caymans.
Should be lower because without us, there's no world. They're really, I don't want to sound overly aggressive, but without us, you have no world.
I'm just saying, it sounds very Antichrist.
And we've put our country on solid
Well, thank you,
footing.
Victoria.
We had a man as president who was the worst.
Oh, thanks for the book, yes.
Worst president in the history of our country. We've had some bad ones, but he's the worst ever. What he did at our border can never be forgotten. 25 million people.
I think they already have.
Allowed to pour into our country, all unchecked, unvetted, murderers, gang leaders.
Enjoy your lunch.
Gangsters.
Wait, and I think those are different things.
People that you don't want in our
hang around gangs
country under any means. Terrorists. We have many terrorists in our country, and
yes, but enough about Stephen Miller and his ICE agents.
We're watching them close. Tom Homan, by the way, is doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, speaking of terrorists.
Christy Nome is doing a phenomenal job.
As a what? As a paper doll?
Last week it was reported nobody, not one, even I don't know if I believe that number, but it's done, the numbers are done by liberals. So they said, did you know that? They said we had nobody, zero, crossed our border. It's first.
Yeah, that's absurd. But also by liberals? You mean people who just deal in reality?
Time that ever happened. Zero. Did you hear that?
And yet fentanyl is the same price and same availability. Isn't that weird?
But we have people from mental institutions, insane asylums even. That's a mental institution on steroids, essentially.
Essentially.
But we had people coming into our country. We can't have them. And we have to get them out. But we can never forgive this administration, this past, and I'm okay with administrations. I mean, I can go through a Democrat administration, say, hey, look, they worked hard, they tried hard. But the things that they did to this country, we can never, ever forget it.
And but he just means the charges against him.
From the rigged elections to the border, to the transgender for everybody.
Which is transhumanism, because he doesn't know the difference.
From men playing in women's sport. Do you ever take a look at some of these
Thanks, Michael.
records? There was a long-distance race.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Marathon.
Well, I mean, I got to say, like, it's odd that he would bring this up, but it isn't, because this is the very crowd he's talking to with the anti-trans stuff.
Where they had a great female runner, a number of them, but they had one in particular. And they had just an average male runner who had transitioned. He won the race at the end of the day by 5 hours and 14 minutes. They waited for 5 hours. The weightlifting records are better, though. The weightlifting records are
Jesus, he's going to do the bing thing.
better. You know, the way they took a record that hasn't been broken for 18 years. 18 years. And, you know, they'd add a quarter of an ounce on each side of the barbell. And they'd just a little tiny piece of stuff, she'd go up and she could.
Fuck you.
Get it up. And this guy comes along. Have you lifted before? Yes, at a low level. He was a low level lifter as a man, but transitioned. And he goes up to that thing. Bing, 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 bing. Could have done it all day long. Broke the record by 119 pounds. The whole thing is crazy. The swimming records are pretty good, too. You got to see that. I told the story. You had this great...
All right, yeah. So he's just going to grunt. Like, the Faith Breakfast. That is the White House Faith Office luncheon. First of its kind. And what did it devolve into? Both, I guess. Him bitching about trans people again. And it's just like flexing and then bitching about the previous administration. So lazy, so weak. And anything, by the way, the reason they decided to have this, you know the reason why they decided they've never had one of these before, why they literally called this to be, this faith and business luncheon, was to draw attention away from the Epstein stuff. That's it. They're trying to flood the zone with a bunch of stuff. Now, it's a little after 6. I've done 2 hours. I'm going to eat something and shower and fall asleep. I appreciate you guys joining me again. I'm going to regular shows the rest of the week except for tomorrow where I have the Ultimate Jam Night tomorrow. And I'm excited to do this one because it's the 80s, so I got to rest my voice all day. And yes, and Rachel is on, so I'll let you guys go. Much love to you. Thank you guys for joining me again. Thank you guys for the super chats and the support and the hearts and just being here and giving me the gift of your time and your eyeballs. I can't tell you how much it means to me. But I'd like to show you. I'd like to squeeze you all into one pretty woman. And if you'd like to come to my office, I'll try. Albert Brooks, Defending Your Life, which I need to watch like now. So yeah, I'm going to feed my kid and myself and shower because I'm gnarly. Okay. And on our way out the door. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys later. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. All right. I'm out. Whew, what a day. Oh, and by the way, gnarly flight coming in. We had to do a go-around because of bumpy air. It was very exciting. Did one of those big airdrops. Hilarious. My son was like, my organs were up in my throat. I was like, yeah, it was quite a drop. But ultimately, everything worked out. I adore you guys. And I will see some of you at the Jam tomorrow.